All right, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So today, I'm actually kind of excited for today's lecture because we will be making our own ChatGPT chatbot today. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, we're probably not going to do it from scratch, but we're going to use the API. Okay, so last week we have seen that we created two demo projects, right? One was a basic chat app. Two was a sort of, you could call it a learning platform where you click on the buttons, it gives you explanations. So what I hope to achieve today is for demo one, the chat application, I'm gonna add the ChatGPT API to it and make it into a ChatGPT chatbot where you can do everything you did in the regular ChatGPT website. And after that, I will try to integrate that to demo 2, which was the learning website. Let's see how far I can go with the given time, but we'll try to do the whole thing. Let's actually begin. I will have to clone it first, my repo. Give me a second. Okay, screen share. All right, I believe you guys can see my screen. So let me begin slowly. Go to desktop, coding in color. Sorry about that. Demo one, open. Let me see what it looks like. npm install. npm start. Okay. So this is what it looks like. That's all right. Okay, so where do I start? Okay, let's begin. So I should open up the ChatGPT documentation here. If it was openai.platform.com. Not this. It's the other way around. Platform.openai. There you go. All right. So let's first go through the documentation a little. Over here, I believe I can create my API keys. If I go back and go to API reference, these are all the APIs OpenAI provides us. We are currently interested in the chat. So this is what it will look like, the output response object. It's interesting how it's kind of nested. So we got to take a look into that. But this is the code that we're interested in essentially. They used curl, but we will be using fetch because it has a very similar structure to curl over here. So let's slowly begin. Let's see what we have to change in the code in order to get to that position. Let me open up the components. So inside app, we have to make some changes here as well. Okay, let me first get rid of some stuff because for this project, we won't be probably needing the mock API services. Because we only need to use post. And I'm gonna do it from scratch, so there's no point in having this. So I'll get rid of that. This, not really needed. This is important. This is important. This probably not needed. Because like for ChatGPT, chatbot, deleting messages is not really needed. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Let me go into message. Let me get rid of the button. Right now I'm just clearing some stuff up so that the code doesn't look as big. Getting rid of redundancy essentially. Nothing here. Form, everything is fine. This is also good. No, I don't need the key over here, honestly, right now. It will probably give an error, but likely we won't have an ID right now, at least. So let's not worry too much about that. I'll get rid of this as well. Now I'll go back to app.js. Why not new file? Because I'm essentially gonna make all the changes in app.js over here. Because over here, I'm sending all the files directly. There's no point in creating another file right now. We definitely can do that, but we essentially just need one function, I think, and the rest is just states. So yeah, for states, I will have to stay in app.js. All right. So we have our handle ask click, and we also have our handle message change. So one thing that you need to notice over here, so when using these kind of APIs, you have to make sure that the JSON file that you're sending or the objects that you're sending, they look exactly the same. So in this case, it has to be role and content. Now, one thing that you guys could be wondering, we have two kinds of roles over here, system and user. But actually, there are three kind of roles. Let me explain that. So we have, let me just create another line here. So there are three kinds of roles, okay? One is user. Next is assistant, which is essentially ChatGPT. And lastly, we have system. Now, what do each of these roles do? When you send in the role as a user, sorry, ChatGPT will read the content from from the perspective of a user, as in it will take it as a question. And the role assistant is the one that we're gonna receive once ChatGPT is returning an answer, and we're gonna set it to assistant so that ChatGPT understands that this is ChatGPT's answer. And system, what this does, it essentially tells ChatGPT how to respond to you. For example, over here, it's just your helpful assistant. But over here, if I wrote down speak like a pirate, likely ChatGPT would be speaking like a pirate to me. So it just tells the system how to react to the user. Are you guys with me so far? Do respond, because that would be very, very appreciated. Okay, so we know what kind of roles we have over here. So right now, we don't probably need anything over here. Yes, we are sending user message to the API. So over here, we have this. Right now, we don't have to assign anything. But since we are gonna have it as an array of objects, just change it to this. And this probably, I think I have to change some stuff here because I want to use this for the messages and for the chat. I can do this. I can change the handle on change to something doing with the chat. Okay. So one thing that I have to do once I get an input from the user, obviously it has errors right now. I want to store it inside, I want to show it on the form input or the input block inside the form. Now, right now, we are just sending in the value, but ideally we would want to send in the whole, what do you call it, state. So state management over here is important. Now, because of that, let's create a state. I mean, it's already created over here. We don't really have to change anything. I'll just turn this into like a regular array. All right. So let's start making changes. So like I said, over here, our object is gonna be looking like role and content, right? If you take a look at documentation again, role and content. Role is gonna be who is essentially sending the message, and content is gonna be the message itself. All right, so let me change the target value for this, or let me change the state. So for this, I have to create a similar structure. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna create some variables here. So I'm gonna call them variable. So remember, this is just for viewing in the input block. This really doesn't affect the messages that we're sending to the API. But regardless, I want to have a similar structure in both of them. That's why I am creating these variables. Okay, so I think I have an issue. All right, that should be good. So inside this, I'm gonna change name into user, and I'm gonna change text into new value. And after that, I will just set chat, not message, to new value. Okay, so that's good. Let me change it over here. No, it's good. I don't have to change anything. Is the error gone? No, it is not. Message services. Line 37, line 35. Like, oh yeah, the handle function. Get rid of these as well. Okay. Chat is not defined. Is that what you're saying? Hmm. Um, right. So this is change. So over here, I need to change. So inside chat, we would be getting the messages, right? But over here, unfortunately, we are just sending the state of the input box. So since I want the state of the messages to be message itself, just so that it's clear, it's clearly labeled, I'm gonna change this to message. And hopefully this error goes, okay, it's gone now. That's amazing. So let's go back. Let me see if I try write something. No, nothing happens. Why nothing happens? Let me check it out. This should be working just fine. I go to chat. Everything seems fine. All right, handle on message change. Yeah, I wonder why. Should be fine. Oh, yeah, for sure. Let me create this view over here. Before that, yeah, so as I type, nothing is happening. that means I have an issue somewhere else. So chat is sending message. Right. In the form, I'm sending in message. Message doesn't have anything. Oh, there you go. Open the console. Well, I don't think right now the console will have anything important going on because I'm not really printing anything, but once I do print something, I will open up the console as well. Having too many screens might just confuse everyone over here. Okay, so right now I just assign the states to each and every one of them. For chat, it's going to be message, the messages essentially, and for form, it's going to be chat. And if I write something, it does come up. So the next thing that we should probably do is set up the handle as click, which is our on-click listener essentially. So right now inside this, we are not really doing a lot. Let's create functionalities for this. So the first thing I would like to do is create the main structure of our new message. So I'm gonna write const new message is equal to, and let's put in role. And inside this, I'm gonna set it as name. So this right here is the variable that I kind of assigned over here, name. So role over here is gonna be user once I click the ask button. And in the next line, let me set the content to text. So the idea is this name and text, it's being assigned over here once the value gets changed or there's a trigger in the input box that kind of sends a event to our app.js. Over there, we're changing the state of the input box, and in the meantime, we are also saving that input inside these variables. And once that's done, we're sort of creating our what do you call it? New variable over here, new object, using the same structure that ChatGPT wants us to use. Where did it go? Oh, there you go, it's right here. So using the same structure as ChatGPT, role and content. So once a new variable is created, it's the same process as before. We have to create a new array of objects that will hold all our messages. So I'm just gonna call this new messages. The first one was new message, the variable, the object, and the array of object is gonna be new messages. So let's do that. Dot message, comma, new message. Okay, so that is good. Think so. So yeah, our array of objects is created. So now let's set our original state, which is message, to new messages right over here. Okay, that's good. So it should work now. Let's see. Um, does it? Wait, hi. No, that's because I don't think I am updating it here. It is updated. There's not much changes that's needed. Okay. I wonder. So let's try to fix this. So inside chat, I am getting this right here. Oh, okay, got it. There's a much in-depth knowledge to that. All right, let's first finish up our function properly because we are missing a few things inside our handle on click. So we'll take a look into that. But before we go ahead doing that, we should take a look into our ChatGPT documentation. So inside this, what I will first need is an API key. So I'm just going to create a new key, say class. One thing you should remember for ChatGPT, once the key is created, you won't be seeing it again. So it's better to store it someplace safe. In this case, I'm just gonna save it in a variable. All right, so that's done. I still wonder, why is it not showing? Like handle as click is setting menu message. Message change is fine. Ask click here is also fine. Everything is good. Nothing. Okay. Let me try console.log in this. All right. Okay. So what's happening is the render is not complete. So I am using set messages to set the state, but before the render is complete, it's not really actually assigning it. So let's actually finish up with our whole code and then we'll take a look into why that's happening. Okay, so the API key is created. What else do I need now? Now I need to create a function that processes all my messages from ChatGPT. So that should be called inside handle ask click. Okay. So one thing inside handle ask click, we need to call a function that will essentially handle all our ChatGPT messages. But that doesn't exist and it's better to create it separately. So I'm gonna create a function that will asynchronously run in the background, process message to ChatGPT. Let me set a parameter over here called chat messages. Okay. So inside this, we are gonna make the function, but before, let's create the function call. It's gonna be await, and should we create a different function for that, or should I put it in the same one? That's something that I need to think. You should pass the name as handle. You should pass name text in your handle as click. Yeah, I'm creating the new array essentially, new object essentially, right? So if you see over here on handle message change, I'm essentially assigning the name and text over here once there's a change in the input, and I'm just calling those variables over here since I set them global. Okay, so what was I doing? Right, I'm gonna call that process ChatGPT messages, and I'm gonna make this new messages. Okay, still won't work. I don't know why. I'll take a look into that later. Okay, new messages are created. And once the new messages are created, we are setting message into that. But then again, the render is not complete, so message is not set. That's why we're sending in new messages as our function parameter. Okay, so that's that. Let's create the function itself now. So inside the function, I will use fetch API. So let me just write down. I'm gonna get the response over here. Response. Then equals to await fetch. And inside fetch, I'm gonna use this particular link. The API link is gonna be this. So let me just create the brackets, Command V. Then there you go. So our fetch function is created. Now we have to create the functionalities. So for method, it's gonna be post since I am sending the values to the API itself. So the method will be post. For headers, okay, so this part's important because if you take a look at this, the header has to be exactly same as what we have over here. So in this case, I might as well just copy the whole thing. Command C, Command V. So this bothers me. I want the authorization to be on top. We don't need this. We don't need this. And over here, it doesn't work the same way. So we have to have each of these names in separate quotation marks. So I do that. Okay, I think that's because of this. So this needs to be inside a parenthesis, what am I saying? A quotation as well. Okay, and instead of their key, we're gonna change it to ours, which is API key. Okay, I wonder why I still have an error over here. I think it's because of this. It's not. Huh. Okay, right. There you go. Thanks for catching that, Navita. Okay, so we have it all set. Right, one thing that I want you guys to notice is over here, bearer, it needs to have a space after this. Why do I say that? That is because if you see over here after bearer, there's a space and then they put the key. Since we want it to have a similar or actually the exact same organization, we need to set a space in between the API key and the word bearer. That's why I'm just adding a bit of space over here. So yeah, this is very important. When there's a documentation, you have to follow it to the dot. All right, so that is done. Header is complete. Let me go to the next line and I will create the body. Okay, so for the body, we need messages and we need the model. So for this, what we can do, I can just copy this actually. Copy, I'm gonna do this. All right, Command V. And next line, I'm gonna put in the first row, which is the role of the system, as in how the system is gonna speak to us, right? Um, hmm. Actually, it's better to have these in different variables. So for this, instead of having it in one line, I'm gonna have it in a different variable actually. That would be better. So let me create a new variable called const API request key, like your body equals to, and inside this, I'm gonna write in the first one, which is the model, Command C. And afterwards, I'm gonna have the messages. So inside the messages, I would ideally want the system message first, right? So let me create another constant for the system message. System. Are you guys with me so far? Perfect. So for the system message, I will need to write down the role system and this right here, that you are a very helpful assistant. Man, that's good. So that is created. So inside messages, now I can easily just pass on my variables. Um, Wrong bracket. Okay. So inside this, I will be sending in system message, and in the next line, I would want to send the user's messages as well. In this case, I'm getting the user's messages as a parameter over here from our handle as click. So I'm just gonna write down ... chat messages over here. All right. Does it make sense so far? Anyone with any questions? Okay, so let's move forward. So I have to assign these to the body, right? Now, the reason behind it was giving me an error was the format was wrong. So I have to format it properly. So I'm just gonna use JSON dot stringify, and I'm gonna call in the variable API request body. This keeps the response block very clean. It's not messy if you deal with it in variables. Okay, so that's done. Hmm. Okay, that's good. I think this right here includes the fetch. Or does it? No, we have more stuff to do. Just gonna go to the next line then. And so you see over here in response, I'm getting whatever the ChatGPT API is gonna give me and store it over here. So why not get the data from that response? So this is equal to await and response.json. So this should store all the data over here. One thing I want to do now is console.log the data. .log data. So I'm just gonna, let me do this. Okay, too many requests. All right. It says bad request. That means there's a issue from our end. That is causing all the problems. Oh, interesting. Let me copy paste the key again. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to read, but my request is not going through. So regardless what I put in over here. Oh, it shows me the error. Role is a required property. All right. So that's all it says. Role is a required property. I am sending in role. Am I not? Message array is set. What if I just change this to user? It's still the same. Invalid value for content. Expected a string. That means text over here is creating an issue. So let me console.log text. Hmm. Let me get rid of the API right now. I don't need it. Let me just first check if everything is coming in correct. Text is undefined. That's why. Why is text undefined? So I'm storing it in a variable. So inside this, the variable stores whatever. Oh, I think that answers my question. That's why it was staying empty. Yeah, when I write something here, still unidentified. So, which means text value is not really changing. What if I change text to new value? Okay, regardless of what I do, these are not changing. Oh, interesting. Okay. This might work. Okay, I think it's coming out now. Um, Try again. Okay, this is working. Text for some reason. Line 31, you say? Yeah, I tried console.logging text. Text is staying empty for some reason. There's no point in changing that. We'll take a look into that later, but for now, this should do the job. Let's see. Um, I will console.log again. Write down hi. Oh, there you go. I'm getting a response. Okay, okay. So it's working now. ChatGPT is sending us a response that essentially looks like this. If you take a look at the response over here, it looks exactly like that. So that's good. But one thing that probably OpenAI might need to work on is how to access these, because these are very nested for no reason. Like these could be separate, but okay. So let's try to bring out the message only, the content. Now, in order to do that, I will have to first, inside the data, I need to go into choices. I need to go to the index 0. Inside 0, I need to go to message, and inside message, I need to go into content. Do you guys understand how I broke that down? So let's do that. So where did I set data again? Over here. So let me console.log data dot choices 0, and inside that message, right? Message dot content. Let's do that. Yeah, there you go. It works. So now what our job would be is to take this message and kind of display it over here in our list. Now, how do we do that? Where did I print it? Over here, line 58. So this is where we need to essentially make our changes now. So why not? Okay, let me just put these in a variable. Const. Let me just write down GPT text is equal to, okay. And so let's set message now. Set message. And inside this, I will write down dot dot dot. So what do you guys think? Over here, should I write dot 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 messages or should I write chat messages? Anyone? What would be the difference between calling the state itself and just assigning the variable that we passed? What's the difference between the two? Anyone with the answer? So the thing about that is, for messages, it's gonna wait till the whole thing renders in order to set messages again. But the chat messages, the variable over here, we're getting past the new messages array of objects, which essentially holds them immediately. They don't have to wait for the state to change. For the state to change, I believe you have to wait for the render. But once this is done, you immediately have the value inside new messages. And the new messages that we're sending is essentially inside chat messages. So that's why we are gonna use dot 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 chat messages over here. Does that make sense for you guys? Yeah, for sure. So when we're actually doing the set message, it's not really changing the state right away. It waits for the function to finish working and then it sets the state. But when we are assigning it to a variable like this, an array of objects, it's not a state, it's just a variable. It holds the value immediately. And we are passing the value directly inside that function, so it's not waiting for anything to complete. So we get that value readily available inside chat messages, which was our parameter over here. That's why we are using the chat messages variable, because it has the updated one. Messages itself, the state, it hasn't been updated yet. Does that make sense? Navita, does that make sense for you as well? Oh, so over here I'm calling the process. So check this out. I'm calling the function process message to ChatGPT. Over there, I'm sending in the variable, and inside the whole function, I have all these going on. Perfect. Okay, so I'm sending in setting message as it's chat messages, and the new object is gonna be the new object is going to be, yes, chat messages takes new message. Exactly, you're correct. So over here, let me write down role assistant. Since this is the message that ChatGPT is sending us, I'm gonna set the role to assistant, and I am going to set the content to, no, I don't need a quotation. GPT text. Okay, this should work. Okay, this is not right. It should be here. So let me refresh that. Get rid of this. So let me write hi. Let's wait for a bit. Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Let me just wait for this render to finish. It didn't respond with a promise yet. It is taking a while. Yeah, I might have to do that. Let me console Oh, there you go. Oh no, it's because of console.log. Let me console.log the data. I think GPT text should be good enough. So I'm gonna refresh this. We're down high. Oh, there you go. Okay. What if I write? What I've noticed is for some reason this is taking a while for a response. I think I will have to look into that. But let's give it a minute. Hmm. No, this is from line 67. It's this. But I believe the response, it's still working on it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, for some reason it takes a while. That we will have to take a look into, but let's first finish up with the functionalities. So yeah, JavaScript is a high-level interpreted programming language that enables developers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, any questions so far? Anyone? Any question? All right, then let's go on a 5-minute break. Let's come back at 10. For me, it's 12 or 10, so it's 3 hours back. Gotta do math now. I think it's 9 or 10, 9, 10 for you guys. Anyways, let's come back in 5 minutes and let's do some CSS for this and kind of merge the two apps together. All right, we are back. So let me share my screen again. All right, so far about the API call, any questions? Anyone? Any question about the API call? Is it clear how I kind of integrated the API to the chat app? Perfect. All right, now the fun part. Let's design this and make this look nice. I will open up app.css as well. First thing I want to do is probably just change the messages over here. Essentially design how each message is going to look like. Okay, that's fair. So why not wrap this around with a p tag, command palette. Let's do some designing here. So for this, there's not a lot of styling going on. So I'm gonna do some inline CSS. And let me set a background color. Let me call this green, yellow. Okay, the background color is there. Let me give it a minimum height of, let's say, 30 pixels. Okay. And let me put in a border radius of 50. How does that look? Okay, so as you can see, over here, the text is actually going over the div. That's because there's no padding here. 20 should be good. Let's see. You can do that, but it's still kind of at the very edge. So let's add some padding to the texts. I'm gonna add, say, 30. Okay, this looks nice. 20 is not good enough. I think 50 looked nice though. Let's see. Yeah, I think 50 is nice, right? Let's keep it 50. It gives like a nice round edge. Okay, so this is set. This looks nice. What else should we do? Right, the form. We need changes in that. So for the form, let's not go for like a inline CSS because I believe there's a lot going on. Instead, what I will do, I will put the form as a CSS class. So dot form. So I want it at the very end, the very bottom. Let me put in position fixed. Right, I'm gonna put in bottom as, let's say, 30. This is okay, right? Yeah, and the grid template over here will not work. So now I want to put this as a grid. I want to divide this into two parts. But the problem is, if I do a grid over here, it's not gonna put the whole thing as a grid. Let's try it. Display. Yeah, because this will also have the text as well. But let's do it anyway. Display grid. So why I'm adding grid is that I want these two, the input and the button, to be side by side. So let me go back to app.css, grid template, columns. Let me put in 60%, 40%. Does this work? It does not. So what's happening is, if I change the colors, you would probably understand better. Background color, let's say black. So it only changes the background color for this individual part. It's not really changing anything. So that's why adding a grid template over here won't work. Likely what we will have to do is we will need to change or wrap this around with another div where we're gonna do the other CSS. Okay. Let me call this inner div. And let's go back to app.css. And for inner div dot inner div, let's change this to width of, say, 100 VH. And let me put in a display grid. And next line, grid template columns, same ratio. See, now it's taking up the whole space, right? So let me put in 60%, 40%. It goes side by side. But then again, it doesn't look as good because it doesn't have any margins over here. It's just taking up the whole space essentially. Yeah, it's taking up the whole spot. So let me add some margin to this. Dot inner div and input. Let me set this as margin left 100. Nope, maybe 100 pixel. margin right as 100 pixel. Okay, that's fair. Let me do the same for the button. Control C. So, okay. We'll look at it in depth in the main folder, which will be our demo 2. This is just a basic CSS that I did, but right now what I'm gonna do, let me get rid of this. So yeah, right now what I will do is I will kind of integrate demo 1 and demo 2. For that, let me just open up the whole folder here. Okay, so I have demo 1 over here and I have demo 2 over here. Now, if I want to integrate both of these, let's take a look at demo 2. Let me go to terminal, cd demo 2, npm start. Huh, interesting. So npm start. Okay, so this is what demo 2 looks like now. So inside demo 2, I essentially wanna bring in the chat bot or the chat function over here. Let me see what this part is called. So the main app.js has coarse and vertical. I assume this is coarse and this is vertical. Yes, I was correct. All right. So first what I will do, I will go back to demo 1 and see what components are missing from demo 2. So I would likely need chat, form, message, all 3 of them. So let me kind of just copy these. Can I just copy all 3? Okay, never mind. So Command C, components is gonna be Command V. Chat goes there. Form is also there now. Messages Command C. All right. So we have the 3 JS files that we need. That's gold. But now for vertical, I have to change what the whole thing looks like essentially to the app.js for this. So is it clear that the app.js for demo 1 is essentially going to be whatever's inside, or the vertical.js is going to be whatever's inside app.js? Does that make sense? Guys, answers, questions, comments? So yeah, so whatever's inside app.js for demo 1, you in other words, the ChatGPT API and all the other functions that are required to access these chat, form, and message. But vertical over here, which is this, does not have any of that. So I will have to change whatever's inside here. So why not I just copy all this. Um, I'm gonna copy the whole thing and change whatever's inside vertical. Command V. So remember the class name is vert. I will have to change that for CSS. But yeah, that's all set. But since the file's name is vertical, I want to change the function's name to vertical as well. If I change it here, I will have to change it here as well. Let's see what it looks like. Yep, it all came back. So now just for the CSS, so I have to change the class name over here to vert. That should change this to green, should it not? App.css is imported. Okay, so just to avoid confusion among folders, let me just open demo2 separately. Open folder, demo2, open. So I'm gonna do a terminal npm start again. Okay. Components. Have to go into vertical. Okay. So one thing is, I did name this vert, but it does not really exist in our CSS file right now. It actually does. Okay. I wonder. Oh, there you go. Oh no, it just took time to render. Okay. So it is getting that. But actually, I still need to copy stuff from demo 1. It's not complete actually, my bad, sorry. I still have some stuff in demo 1 that I want inside demo 2, which essentially is the styles. So I'm just gonna copy all this. I'm gonna go into app.css for this. Go at the very bottom, Command V. All right, so let me reopen demo 2. Open. Terminal. npm start. Are you guys with me so far? Okay, there you go. So now let's kind of edit this based on what we've done. The buttons over here probably don't need as much padding or margin over here. Let me change this to maybe 50. 50. Okay. Not bad. See if the functionality is good. Hi. It's working. Amazing. So one thing I want to notice, one thing that I want to check out is when the chat actually keeps on going, Does the whole viewport increase with that or just the vertical side? What do you guys think? Will the whole viewport increase in height or will just the right side increase? Let's check it out, okay? Safest bet, write 6,000 word essay. Let's just hope this doesn't take too long. On any topic. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to type in again and again. Um, Maybe inflation, because the prices are actually bad. Yeah, that we have to do. We'll take a look at that. Okay, let's give it some time. It's writing 6,000 words. If it were me, I would take the whole day. I mean, I bet ChatGPT sees these kind of questions a lot these days, right? Can we make it showing word by word? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by word by word. Could you kind of elaborate on that? Oh, okay, okay. Like you want to add something that shows, okay, ChatGPT is typing. And now for that, you will have to add some extra functionalities from inside. Oh, there you go. Our 6,000 word essay is complete. Wow, okay, that was fast. But one thing that I wanted to check is this. I was correct. The whole viewport changes. Now, how to fix this? What I can do is inside the vertical tag, which will be over here, called vert, can write down, yeah, overflow. So I'm gonna write down overflow hidden. This will hide whatever is overflowing. And I'm gonna write overflow y, which is essentially the y-axis to scroll. And no, well, ChatGPT, you have to write an essay again. Chat, write a 6,000 word essay on inflation. So the idea behind, so for your question, Hannah, when we are actually showing it line by line, I think it takes some work from the background in a sense that we have to first receive the content and then kind of structure it the way we want it to be shown. So that is something that we have to take a look into because what ChatGPT is doing is just sending us a whole string. No, I mean the issue with this, for this being slow for some reason, is because the API is returning the response late. That I have to kind of look into why it's happening. That definitely can be fixed, but from my understanding, that's the issue, not the size of the content. I mean, the size of the content does matter in a way because ChatGPT, even if you're doing it in the actual website, it's gonna take some time, right? So that definitely affects the content. But other than that, it still is taking longer than I would like it to. Okay, it's a 6,000 word essay, ChatGPT. It shouldn't be that hard. All right. Hmm. That is a good point. I was actually thinking the same because they handle things different. And I also personally use Axios usually because not always, but in some cases, it does some exception handling in the background. So it does give your answer a little faster. But the reason behind using Fetch over here, because Fetch had a very similar documentation to curl. That's why I went for Fetch to keep it exactly same, just for your understanding. Okay, here we go. Yep, it is fixed. Okay, now this is not working. Why? We'll figure that out. Um, let's go into course. Sending this. Um, this should be fine. No, from course, it is going into topics. Oh, okay. Maybe it's because of this. Oh, there you go. Yeah, for some reason, the whole thing broke because of that one thing. Okay, this looks nice, but I want to make it nicer. Let me change colors based on the role of the person, whether it's the user or the assistant. So for that, just give me a second. I think I need a ternary operator. Need to figure out how to do that. So ideally, what's happening over here is I am sending, so it starts in vertical, right? So it's going into chat and form. So if I go inside chat, it's going into message, but inside message, I am only returning one object at a time. Okay, so why don't I send the color with this object over here? Okay. So I will go into, I am in chat actually, never mind. So inside this, I'm just gonna write down const color message. Sorry about that. Message dot roll. If it's equal to assistant. It definitely made a spelling error over here. Okay, if it's assistant, I am gonna keep the color to green, yellow, and otherwise it is gonna be blue. Okay, this should work. And the variable that I'm making, I'm gonna send this to message over here. So instead of this, let me write down call. And inside chat, I will send another prop, which is gonna be call. I will change this over here. Oh, there you go. It changes based on that. But I am not happy with that. I wanna change sides for these. For example, this should be on the right, this should be on the left. So what are the CSS that I would need? For this, I would need a margin left. For this, I would need a margin right. I would also need text align to send this to the right and send this to the left. So I need 3 CSS components, which will be margin left, margin right, and text align. Okay, the reason behind me not assigning anything to this is because I'm gonna send in variables based on what kind of role the person has, because otherwise of the top of my mind can't really figure out another algorithm for this. So let's do that. Inside this, what I will do is I will create 3 variables: var left, var right, var align. Inside this, now I will write an if statement. If color. So I remember from the previous file, the color blue is for the user. So if the color is blue, then I will change margin, no, not margin, sorry, left. So okay, get rid of this. So I need some space on the left. A line needs to be on the right. And that's about it. So I will keep left as 100. Let's do that. Let's set left as 100. Right, since there's going to be no space on the right, I'm going to set right as 0. And I'm going to set align. So align needs to be a string. and I will set it right. Else, I'm just gonna copy these. So for the yellow part, I want right to have some margin, a line to be left, and no space on the left. So let's make this 0, make this 100, and make this left. All right, so once those are done, I can just assign the respective variables. Over here, I'm just gonna assign right, and here I'm gonna assign a line. Margin left is not defined, is it? Oh, there you go. Actually, I don't want it to render again and again. I'll change the color for these as well, honestly. Might as well. So color. Huh. It's gonna be white. Refresh. So I'm gonna write hi. Oh, there you go. Oh, how can I assist you today? This probably looks a little odd. Might want this to be dark. Can fix that later. But I guess blue, yellow, and green. You're supporting Brazil today. What else do we need to fix? Okay, so we have a lot of colors going on over here, but I do want to change it. If you guys remember the demo 1 that we showed, or the presentation, let me open that up. Let's try to make it similar to the one in our diagram. So something like this. It's like a peach color, right? All right, let's try it. I need a hex code though. Color hex codes. Or peach. Gotcha. Okay, before we make changes to that, let me go back to CSS. So the app background needs to be white. For the buttons, let's make this peach. But there's like a slight puffiness to the buttons, right? Let's get rid of that. For that, I believe I will need to use border none. Border none. Okay. Margin and 10 pixel. No, that's too much. 5, still a lot. 2 pixel. Okay, this looks nice. And let's get rid of this bright yellow color. Or before that, let me just add a border radius. Interesting. Um, let's do 50. I don't know. Okay. Let me set font size. Let's do that. Let's say 30 pixels. Font weight. Bold. Let's set the color to white. Okay. Set this to peach as well. I think that was called, huh. Explain, right? Set this to peach. Okay, that's why. What color do you think would be nice for this side? The vertical side? Peach? Or should I change it to something else? Any suggestions? Aqua. Interesting. Let's see. Peach themes. Let's try aqua first. Hashtag. Maybe. Maybe. Website themes. Peach. Hmm. Honestly, the aqua's not bad. Let's keep it like that. We might have to change the loud colors for the chat, but other than that, this looks nice. Okay, what do you guys suggest for the colors for the chat? Or is this fine? Middle one is nice. So, I mean, I need two colors, one for the user, one for the ChatGPT. So maybe the user could be pink, but what will I set for ChatGPT? Brown. Okay, let's try. Maybe like a light brown, you say? Is that even a color? I think light brown is a color over here. Wheat. Okay, that sounds good. Where was I? Chat, right? Let me copy this. And for this pink, not bad, not bad. Let's fix up the form a little. So let me go back to .css. And I believe was this. Say padding. Let me do it 30 pixels. Let me do the same for this. 30 pixels. And border radius. Let's put in, why not 50, right? And also for this, I have to write border none. Border none. Border radius 50 pixels. I should put a background color for this as well, right? What should the background color be for the button? Oh, 30 pixels too much. I'll fix that. But what do you think a good color would be for the button? Black. Okay, let's try it. One thing though, from a designing aspect, I think it's causing problems here. Oh no, padding is fine. Oh no, actually, padding was not fine. This I wanted to get rid of. And for background color, you want black. Color, let's put white. What do you think? Is like this, or do you want a different color? What do you think? Yeah, ideally we would want something white. Let's do like a green maybe. Let's try green. Okay. Suganti suggested this. Let's try this and then we'll try dark blue. Okay, and let's set this to black. Yeah, because I feel like it's too much cream going on. Maybe a different color would work. Orange, not bad. Okay, light blue first. Let me see. Oh no, dark blue, my bad. This is gonna be white. Okay, this is not bad. Let's try orange. I'm gonna take everyone's suggestion. Actually, I kind of like the orange. It's different, but it's still kind of colorful. What do you guys think? Is the orange nice? Okay, now this has to change. Let me go back to app.css and inside explain. Where is explain? Let me add padding. Let's say 50 pixels. And I want to change the color to white. Font size needs to change. Font size, let's say 30 pixel. All right, that's pretty solid. Hi. Explain JavaScript. Or why not explain React? Text should be bolder, need more white there. Are you talking about this part? I don't know. Putting it more bold, will it work? Font weight bolder.
No, the ask.
Oh, okay, got it. So let's get rid of this. And all the text need to be black or gray. I mean, white looks kind of nice with peach. The orange, I agree, that could be black. Um, where's the button? So let me put in font weight to be bold. Font size 20 pixel. Too much? Too much? 15 pixel. Okay, that's pretty good. Go. I. Will you be my friend? I guess we are done. Or, well, this is supposed to be a learning platform. You're not supposed to ask ChatGPT to be your friend, but it does the same. So, yeah. What do you guys think about it? ChatGPT is a good friend. Yes, you are correct. All right. So, all that being done, let me just create a new terminal and push all this to my repo. Git checkout. Again, I forget which lecture this is. Lecture 76. Git add, git commit. ChatGPT added demo to complete. Git push origin lecture 76. All right, I guess we are done. This is what it looks like. You guys have any questions about what we've done so far? About the API calls, even the designing issues? Any questions? And how are you guys feeling about doing a project of your own? Good. I mean, it's not, if you take a look at it, with time, I believe it's getting easier for you guys, right? It might seem daunting, but then again, like it's it turns out to be very simple with practice. Yes, exactly. It's challenging, but it's fun. Like all these that we've done over here, if you tried to do this with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, this would take ages. A lot of function calling, a lot of variable passing from random files here and there. There would be a lot of files as well, like a lot, because we would need separate CSS files. But since we used React kind of made that simpler for us. When project will be released? Um, we haven't really gotten to that point yet where we'll release the project because a lot of people are still working on the assignment. We want you guys to have a clear idea about React before we give you the project. So, but yeah, we will let you know. We will definitely let you know. So yeah, if you guys don't have any more problems regarding this, let's finish our lecture over here and go on a 10-minute break. So yeah, I will see you guys in 10 minutes. Also, I believe we have presentations today. I think we are running a little late, but sorry for that.
All right, everyone. So we are back for the lab. For the lab, we don't really have a lot planned today. It's more like an open space for you guys to work on your assignment. If you're done with this, previous assignments. And if you have any questions, you can definitely let us know. We'll take you to breakout rooms, or even you could ask questions in the main room as well. So yeah, you can get started with your assignments and let us know if you have any issues.